expertise, along with the biggest names talking Nebraska sports. Join in with the show at 402-489-1240 or 1-800-825-5865. Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
The 1-1 pitch, little bouncer to third, Carey up with it, fires to first, in time, and the Huskers have beaten number 7 Vanderbilt. They get it done today, 2 in the bottom of the 8th to win it, 5-3.
That is a happy, great Sharp. Why am I hearing two of me? Better now?
Right now.
No. Well, great to have you in on a Friday. It's Hail Varsity Radio. We're presented by Currency. Is your speaker on the computer? Are you muted?
Hold on.
Is that what's going on? We've already had 2 errors at third right now. Yeah. You're a Cub fan. So I'm going to talk without hearing anybody, and we're going to move forward. Chris Schmidt, that is Connor Clark on Hail Varsity Radio. At Schmidt_radio is where you find me on Twitter. Can find Connor on Twitter at C_Clark_27. The good news, if you're a Nebraska baseball fan, a wow win for the Big Red as they take down number 7 Vanderbilt. And do so in impressive fashion, 5-3. Nebraska had to come from behind to do it. They were trailing in the middle innings, 3-1, but Nebraska able to stabilize. Really good outing by Emmett Olson. Shea Shanneman came in, did his work. Nebraska able to make some impressive plays in the field, some timely hits. Garrett Anglin, the insurance policy with a solo shot to make it 5-3. Numbers to get in today on Hail Varsity Radio, 489-1240, 489-1240. Can find us across the Hail Varsity Radio Network, 1-800-825-5865. Can email the show, Chris at hailvarsity.com. Have we got it fixed?
We should. Try the headset now.
Let us try that. Oh, glorious. Just me and just you. That is good. Coming up on the show in about 15 minutes, we'll get reaction from a Husker great World Series champ Jabba Chamberlain. Jabba going to be with us around 4:25 in hour 2. I can't hear you now. Okay, you're there we go. Jabba Chamberlain, 4:25 at 5. We'll run down the Pride of Fairbury. Bill Doleman, NBC Sports, the professor, and of course, longtime Husker broadcastman Bill Doleman, Brady Owens, who are some of the kids being targeted, Nebraska, the in-state talent, plus some NFL Combine reactions from Brady with the Huskers doing work in Indy. Then we'll head down to PBA between sessions. Jacob Padilla going to join us at 5:40 with Hail Varsity Radio. And so we'll check in with him. Thanks to all the folks who stopped out at Rosie's yesterday. Good to see everybody and spend time doing a live show. We'll be back at Rosie's next week, next Thursday at Rosie's, as we'll be there for all boys state tournament. So Husker baseball gets the win. That's the lead story today. And Nebraska able to keep pace, quite honestly, with what's been going on in the Big Ten. What's been happening in the Big Ten? Well, Nebraska has the Vanderbilt pelt on their wall. Maryland has beaten Ole Miss. Nebraska will hook up with Ole Miss on Sunday. Penn State's beaten Miami. Iowa rocked LSU. Illinois has beaten Southern Miss. Ohio State whacked UConn this season. Indiana's gotten over on Auburn and Texas. Michigan's beaten Grand Canyon. Sparty beat Grand Canyon. So why don't we just call it right now? Half the field of the CWS will be Big Ten. I'm kidding.
We can only dream.
Kind of kidding. But hey, this is a reality. Nebraska, Big Ten, and who gets to the postseason out of the Big Ten? 3-4 in a good year, right? And you get a win like this, it is an RPI stabilizer. It's an enhancer. and Nebraska's got to go back at it and go handle business tomorrow with Hawaii, and then finish out and do their best against Ole Miss. So let's hear a little bit from Will Bolt. And if you rewind 2 weeks ago, it was a little crusty around here. We didn't overreact, but it was a oh no type tone or mentality with Nebraska's 0-3-1 opener against San Diego. Nebraska got back on the horse last weekend against South Alabama. The offense has continued to be good, and as a team, they're hitting right around 327. And Nebraska didn't make mistakes, Connor. They got 3 home runs hit off of them, but they weren't 2-run shots or worse. They were 3 solo shots. Those are the 3 runs Vandy had, and that Vandy physicality's pretty solid. But Will Bolt today cut one here, that knowing versus hoping. And the team came in confident, and they played confident in some big moments.
It's always good to feel like you beat a good team. I mean, Vanderbilt, they got an All-American, on the mound, and a tough lineup that's really athletic, and we got a good team too. So I feel like our guys expected to win. I feel like we didn't come into this game hoping to keep it close or hoping to have a good showing or come into this tournament, hoping to do that. And I know that we came in and we prepared to play well, and whatever that takes us tomorrow, But I was proud of our effort today.
Amen. And that is Will Bolt. It isn't happy to be part of the party. It's not, shucks, just thankful to be here. You compete and you do all this to go win. Go win big ball games. Go win big moments. Go win on this stage against that conference and that team. And you needed, first of all, you needed it as a Nebraska baseball fan, but more so the team needed it from a reassurance. It's one thing to go sweep last weekend, but now it got real this weekend at US Bank Stadium. It got real, and Connor, they responded.
They responded in a way that I didn't really expect, and I don't think very many people expected them to respond. Now, obviously, I thought that they were going to come out swinging because of, the quality of opponents that they will see, because they still have to play Hawaii and Ole Miss even after this game. But you knew that they weren't just going to kind of roll over, and you mentioned it. That's kind of the Will Bolt philosophy. We're not just happy to be here. We want to, go out there and win some of these ball games. And I think, they got off a good start. They went up 1-0. Now Vanderbilt did fight back. They took a 3-1 lead, and I think that's a huge part of it too, because you go down 2 runs to one of the best programs in college baseball, not just this year, but period. That's a tough, rally to come back from, and they were able to do that. And big shouts to Shea Shanneman for 3 huge scoreless innings down the stretch. Huskers only used 2 pitchers today. I think that's big as well. So huge win for Will Bolt and his squad. Obviously a huge confidence booster. And you mentioned it was, a little wishy-washy, I guess, after that first series. We weren't overreacting. The season wasn't over, obviously. After
but you're like, where's
right.
this going to go?
But they've won 4 in a row now, and they've beaten some pretty quality opponents in that 4-game win streak. So seeing them win today was really, really encouraging, and Husker Nation has to be very, very happy with their performance.
Huskers didn't play their perfect game. It did strand 9 runners. It made multiple mistakes on the base paths, and they didn't blink. They didn't act like an underdog. You had a really quality start, his best start of the year for Emmett Olson. You mentioned the 3 scoreless innings, and the offense squared up against Carter Holden, one of the top prospects for the 2024 MLB draft. And time and again, Nebraska able to do work. They had 8 doubles today. 8 of their 13 hits were doubles, so the extra base juice. Nebraska also had the 6 top 10 win in 23 tries in the Big Ten era. You had Nebraska take down number 1 Arkansas in the regional in 2021, and also got over on Texas Tech, number 3 Tech in 2019. So that is impressive. More from Will Bolt as his post game. A little bit more here on Vandy and what Nebraska was able to navigate on the hill with those home runs. Those are jolts but they're not ultimately demoralizing when you give up a 2-run or a 3-run jack. More from Coach Bolt.
I mean, they hit 3 jacks. I mean, it was, you make a mistake to line up like that, they're going to make you pay. The difference was it was solo home runs, and that's kind of the message we gave to our team and our guys and Emmett. Just keep attacking the zone. Solo home runs don't beat you typically. So, yeah, they're a good team. We played well to beat them.
More from Bolt. Let's talk about that mood, because you're down in the middle innings 3-1, and then you claw back and you win 5-3. But what was Will's message? What was the team's leadership like in the dugout in those middle innings when you're down?
Stay the course. I mean, we kind of, I think I called him up after maybe the 4th inning and said, look, we're not going to let a couple solo home runs dictate this game. Like, keep having good at bats. He made some big time pitches when he needed to. His unbelievable sequences. That's why he's an All-American. I mean, I thought that our guys had great at-bats, and we have extended at-bats, and just keep setting it up. And, we got in the bullpen a little bit earlier than they probably would have liked to have gone, and that ended up being the difference.
Emmett Olson, highlighted by Will Bolt. Again, preseason accolades for him, and he absolutely delivered today. Will Bolt's thoughts on Emmett Olson.
It was, and again, because he didn't let a couple of, the one inning he walked a couple of guys. I think we got the double play ball behind it. He didn't let the crooked number kind of happen. I think that's what an ace needs to do, is compete, get out of jams. And if we make a mistake, he makes a mistake. It doesn't turn into a crooked number. I mean, it's hard to overcome on a Friday night. So it's good to see him do that.
So and Evan Bland asked this question, but any vibe from this team, cut 8, any remembrance or parallels between this team so far, what he's seen, and the 2021 squad that was a game away over that Arkansas team?
You start to have I think all championship level teams have similar traits. And those are some things we recognize early with this team. And I'm not saying we're going to win a championship, but I am saying that we have some of those traits with this group. They love each other, they have each other's backs, they have fun, but they know when to dial it in when they need to. And it was the coolest thing for me is Evans hasn't played all day. We played 3 different guys in right field, and he makes that's a huge play there to start that 9th inning. Who knows what happens if that ball gets over his head. So Columbus comes in, plays first base. We got a team full of guys that just stay ready.
So Griffin Everett, the at bat that gave Nebraska the lead, 1-0. You had Max Anderson go 3 for 4 against Vandy pitching. Bryce Matthews, of course, that big RBI double, and a team effort for the Big Red. They get the win, and they even overcame some stranded runners and some base running mishaps to get Vandy. Now, last thought here from Bolt on tomorrow, as Nebraska's got to reconfigure and attack it the same way. Cut 7 here, staying level. You can enjoy tonight. You earned it, but don't put your feet up.
Kind of having a consistent mindset. Just, it doesn't really matter your opponent. Who you're playing, where you're playing, and what the weather's like. You show up and compete against the baseball, and you stay pitch to pitch, and you stay in the trust zone to just trust yourself, your preparation, your teammates. These guys. They've got some toughness to them, so I expect us to show up tomorrow and play well.
Will Bolt does not hand out compliments. He's not unfeeling. He's matter of fact, straightforward, and accurate in his assessment. It isn't pat on the back, here's a compliment like it's Halloween candy. He's pretty real with his assessment of the team, what he sees, some of those traits he touched on. And he's right. You got to compete against the baseball. We'll hear from Jabba Chamberlain in about 10 minutes. Some thoughts from Christian McCaffrey as he sat down with Bussin' with the Boys. His take on Matt Rule. Pretty excited. Monday, we'll get a chance to spend time with Coach Rule. Thomas Fedoni, Chief Borders, going to have media availability. So that's on the docket. We'll spend time, too, on Nebraska. They take off for Iowa. Showdown with the Hawkeyes, the regular season finale. Can Nebraska basketball bounce back? Numbers to get in at 489-1240. Can email the show, Chris at hailvarsity.com, or as always, across the network where you hear us, 1-800-825-8255. 5865. Put a bow on some Nebraska baseball as Jabba Chamberlain with us next. I followed this on Husker Twitter, and it was, did you have the earbud in while you were at class?
I watched a little bit of it, but I didn't get much past the second
during class, or did you have it on while class was going?
I'll be honest. Yeah, during class.
That's okay.
Of course.
It's not quite as bad as confirmation, where well, some of us in the room maybe had an earbud in back when we were in junior high, when Nebraska and Jamar Johnson upset Kansas on a Wednesday night. We were in confirmation or listening to the game. I was listening to the game instead of listening to my pastor. Sorry about that, but it worked out okay. Nebraska won, and I eventually got confirmed. So knock on wood there. Jabba Chamberlain, Husker great, with us next. His take on Big Red Baseball. Hail Varsity with you on a Friday, presented by Currency.
The dangers of secondhand smoke are well known. But what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hail Varsity is a must-have for true Husker fans. Get a monthly magazine that'll make checking the mail fun again. Daily analysis, the breaking news, including the inside scoop on recruiting on HailVarsity.com. And every June, that's right, every June, you'll get the Nebraska Football Yearbook, a season preview completely dedicated to Nebraska football. That's as comprehensive as national previews. Remember, get to HailVarsity.com.
Husker fans, mark your calendars for March 24th, as your Husker baseball team will be retiring the jerseys of 3 former All-Americans. Darren Erstad, Alex Gordon, and Shane Comine will be honored before the game with a first pitch and unveiling of their retired jerseys. First pitch is set for 6:05 p.m. Come early to receive a commemorative jersey retirement item while supplies last. Bring everyone and help fill Haymarket Park with these 3 Husker greats. Go to Huskers.com/tickets or call 1-800-8-BIG Red now.
As the Nebraska winter drags on, count on KFOR to keep your family safe. Immediate news and severe weather updates. School closings on demand at KFORnow.com. And the award-winning KFOR News and Weather Team to keep you ahead of the storm. Stay connected and stay safe. KFOR, FM 101.5 and 1240 AM. Paid for by Stansberry.
With massive layoffs in nearly every sector, weakness in manufacturing, and the biggest one-month decline in the trade deficit since the financial crisis, the economic picture is not looking good, which might explain why so many billionaires are loading up on gold, including hedge fund manager John Paulson and real estate mogul Sam Zell. Bottom line, now is the time to own gold, which is why the experts at Stansberry Research just stepped forward with a major gold prediction, arguing gold could soar as high as $3,000 by the end of the year, possibly even higher. You can find out why and get instant access to their #1 gold investment today. It's not bullion, an ETF, or a mining stock, but in the past, this gold strategy could have made you nearly 50x your money. You don't want to waste any time.
And now,
back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Back with you, it's Hail Varsity Radio, presented by Currency. Husker standout World Series champ. He is smiling with the Huskers win over Vandy today. Jabba Chamberlain. Jabba, what's going on, man? What a job by the boys today.
Man, it was start to finish. There was, coming into it, we left some runners on, and with a team like that, it's tough sometimes just because of the caliber of what it was. But everyone went out and kept us in the game, and the boys put together great at bats, and just all around, it was a full 9-inning game, and it was definitely a fun one to watch.
Well, 13 hits for the Big Red and Will Bolton Company. Now a fourth consecutive win, holding Vandy to just 5 hits. And Nebraska jumped out early, 1-0. Vandy answered as you got to the middle part and latter part of the innings. Nebraska down to 3-1, and then Anglin's blast was big time. And the Huskers are all smiles. Jabba, speak to the momentum a win like this can have short term for a tournament like Nebraska's in Minneapolis, but also long term when it comes to RPI implications and even regional discussions.
I think it's huge on every aspect. I mean, we can break down the game here in a little bit, but just to know coming in early after, you know, coming off a weekend where we got 3 wins and just carrying the momentum in, and obviously Vanderbilt being Vandy, it's one of those teams that no matter what, when you play him, it's you know what you're going to get. I mean, Tim Corbin is Tim Corbin, and he has his guys always ready to play. And to know that we can go out and compete, I mean, from top to bottom and put together a complete game and compete with a team like that is just, it's going to do nothing but give our guys the utmost, you know, obviously respect for a team like that. But you have to respect us too now at this point. And, you know, just to have that confidence going into it, to know that anytime you go out, you know, you have a chance to win. We're obviously going to be tested again on Sunday against Ole Miss. They're playing Maryland right now, so it's going to be a tough weekend. But I love these early weekends where you get tests, and you know, going into a big month at home and having these tests is a great barometer of what this team can do and what they're capable of.
Jabba Chamberlain's with us. Jabba, let's get into the game. And Nebraska, I'm sure behind closed doors, not pleased with the opening weekend, but I thought Will did a good job of accentuating the positive with how the offense was rolling. I mean, 327 as a team, and then again 13 hits today. Give me a take on who impressed you at the dish today.
Well, there was so many at bats. I mean, obviously Max going 3 for 4. You know, we throw a couple sneaky doubles in, but then, you know, we had great at bats. I mean, guys were grinding through at bats. I mean, Bryce had a tough day at the plate, but then comes out with a huge 2-out hit late in the game to put us up 5-3. And, you know, I just think the biggest thing too, I think throughout the entire game is the zeros we threw up after we got either tied or ahead. And, you know, it's going to go overlooked and maybe not by everybody, but that catch that Garrett has in left field with 2 outs, that allows us a chance to get to 3-3. If not, then it's 5-1, and that's a different ballgame. And so in that 6th inning, when he makes that catch, it allows us to get back in, and that's momentum, and goes in, and you know, he leads off, he gets hit by a pitch, and it's just, you know, everybody did the little things right in this game to put us in that position, and it was just a fun all-around game to see, from, you know, getting out of jams with a 6-4-3 and 2-out hits. Yeah, did we leave 9 runners on? And, you know, that's tough sometimes, but at the end of the day, you find a way to win, and we definitely did that.
Right on with the situational moments in baseball. You got Anglim's solo blast, a little insurance there. That double you touched on with Bryce was big, but Will's comment after the game, our guys stayed in the fight. Speak to that with the mentality you have to have as a ball player, as a competitor at this level.
Well, I mean, it's coming into it and staying in the fight. And I love that he said that, because at the end of the day, you can put your tail between your legs because you're facing Vanderbilt. But the boys didn't do that. I mean, they stepped up and, you know, got an early lead, which I think is huge. I think it's huge just for momentum. Obviously, we knew that Vanderbilt wasn't going to lay down. Coming into the game, they've only had 8 home runs, though. And that was one thing that kind of surprised me, and their leading guy has 3. But, you know, coming into it, solo homers aren't going to kill you. I mean, they're not fun, but they're not going to kill you. And we did a great job on the mound of, you know, there's a couple leadoff walks, but nothing like we've seen in the early part of the season. And, you know, I just think staying in it and it's not getting down, knowing they hit those 2 home runs, and we go down a little bit, but they never gave up, and they knew that they could stay in the game, and they were out hitting them. Shea came in and did a fantastic job. Like I said, Emmett gave us a great start, but Shea to come in and do the things that he did, and it was just impressive. And they stayed in it, and they knew they had a chance to win, and they believed in themselves. And I think, like we said earlier, these early tests are awesome because it shows the character of your squad and what you guys can do and how you do it. And those 2 out hits and just adding insurance and just trusting the process and going deep into counts. And, it's when you get called to pinch hit and you go in and have a full count walk and just extend an inning. And that's what we did all day.
Jabba Chamberlain with us. Reaction: Nebraska downing number 7, Vandy 5-3 in Minneapolis. And let's speak about the pitching for a moment, your expertise. Emmett Olson, Shea Shanneman, you've touched on it so far, but they were almost at their best today, making some critical pitches, getting some big time outs. What can their ceiling be? What does Emmett Olson, as we expand for the season, what could his ceiling be? And same with Shanneman. How good can he get as he navigates through? This is a monster confidence boost for both.
I think it's huge. Obviously Emmett coming in and preseason accolades and so on and so forth. But, coming in early, you get some out of conference games and you get a chance to play these powerhouses and these names. And I think just being able to build on that and to know it's like, it's 60 feet, 6 inches, no matter who we play. It's just another team. It's just another name on the back of the jersey. It's just another game. And I think it's just to build off that and, to be that guy and to have, and we all say that Friday night attitude, and you have to have a little bit of it. And you have to know that you can go out there and beat anybody on any given day, no matter if they're number 1 in the country or if they're number 100. You have to be pitched the same as they're 100 as they are number 1. But I think just the confidence boost and the aspect of knowing that he can do it and know he can go compete and have that dog in him to get it done is something that is just going to build and grow every game and every time he steps on the mound. And, Shea to come in that situation and throw up those numbers like he did, just mixing, had a great fastball, had a little jump to it. And, his breaking ball was really good. He threw it for strikes and, he got some strikeouts with it. And it's just to be able to come in that situation and, throw up a 0. Like I said, some of the biggest innings is when we go score or tie a game to come back out and throw up a 0. And that just, it stops their momentum. It continues ours. And we've seen how that played out for us in a 5-3 win.
Well, Coach Bolt called Shanneman the heartbeat and really appreciative of how his closer came in, did his work, that super senior being on point, and Nebraska a shot in the arm with a statement win, and it's one of another of 2 opportunities this weekend, along with Hawaii tomorrow. So let's talk about the rest of the weekend. We were discussing all week what success looked like. You got to at least go 1-2. You've got a chance to go 2-1 or 3-0 if things keep on rolling, and then you get back to the friendly confines. As you look at the Big Ten early so far this season, Iowa's had some impressive wins. Ohio State was down in Arizona taking on TCU last weekend. Is a conference a little bit better through a couple weeks than maybe you thought, or were you kind of waiting to see how they'd respond with not a ton of national respect? Maryland's been about it, but there's been some nice moments so far for the conference as a whole, and Nebraska echoes that again today with the win over Vandy.
Yeah, I think these early tournaments and series and everything that we get to do being a northern school and try to get some warmer weather and get the boys outside. as a whole, everybody thinks the Big Ten is, it's been Maryland and Michigan have been really kind of the talk of the last few years. But, I think it's just the opportunity to showcase what the Big Ten is, because when you get these chances to play these teams and to show, and it's not necessarily going out and beating, but it's also going out and competing and see the caliber of talent that is in the Big Ten. And, hopefully it opens up some eyes. And I think, early on, just projections of, and projections are projections. We all know how we feel about those. But it's one of those things where if you just look at it and you just look at the surface and they'll see the Big Ten. But now you kind of look at it and you've seen some wins that these Big Ten schools are getting over some SEC teams and things of that nature. And I think that they have to understand that there is talent here. There's talent everywhere. And we've shown that, and we've shown the ability in the Big Ten to win big games. And I think it's going to make the conference a fun conference to watch and to see just the parity and just the nature of the competitiveness between all these teams, because they're all cumulatively coming into some big wins that it is going to engage them and understand that's like, hey, we're a team. Like this is something that we can build on and get better and take the momentum and continue to build it and go into the Big Ten season. And, it's once you get home and get into that conference, things get going. It's quick. You got to have short-term memory and everything like that. But I love these early tournaments where you get to face some teams that you most likely wouldn't get to face until you get to the postseason, and kind of have a good judge on the ability and the level and what the team can be and should be and has shown so far.
Jabba Chamberlain with us, Hail Varsity Radio. Nebraska over Vandy today. Husker baseball off to a great start in Minneapolis.
Girls State basketball Friday night, the Class A semifinal. Lincoln High takes on Millard North. I'm Jeff Moats. You can join me for the play-by-play. Coverage begins at 7:40 right here.
FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-9336. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-9336. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-9336. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-444-9336. 800-444-9336.
Hello, neighbor. Welcome to Super C Convenience Stores, your anytime stop for hot snacks, cool drinks, ethanol-free fuel, and soft-touch car washes. Super C now has 11 locally owned stores, each set up to serve the individual neighborhoods, from grocery items, milk, bread, fruits, and so much more. Fuel up and get going. Super C, known for clean restrooms, friendly people, and great service. Stop in for yourself. Super C, where they're always happy to see you. And don't forget the ice.
Live, local, in our community. The KFOR Sportscasters Club has long been a supporter of young athletes and academics in Lincoln and Lancaster County. Follow your favorite team on air and online at KFORnow.com. Powered by Bob and Jan Fitzsimmons and Leach Camper Sales. Stay connected to Lincoln and Lancaster County High School athletics with FM 103.3 and 1240 AM KFOR.
Take the wheel and take control of your auto insurance premium with the Drive for Less program from Battle Creek Mutual Insurance. When you drive safe, all roads lead to a lower cost on your auto insurance. Simply track your driving habits with your Battle Creek mobile app, and you can save up to 30% on your premium just by driving safe. Talk about driving a bargain. Download, drive, save. Get the app today from Battle Creek Mutual Insurance.
Get the hard truth from someone who's seen it from the inside. Hey, this is Dan Bongino. As a former NYPD police officer.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
A few more minutes, wrap it up. Jabba Chamberlain with us here on Hail Varsity Radio. Nebraska over Vandy today, 5-3 in Minneapolis. So in your career, was there a spot or a stop on the road that had somebody comparable to the Vandy Whistler?
We didn't have any of that. We maybe had a yeller. The only one that I could ever think of is when we played in conference when we were in the Big 12 was Texas Tech. They were called the Tech Hecklers, and they knew everything about you. But that was interesting because they would say stuff that you probably didn't know about your own family. So it was kind of entertaining. But we never had the Whistler, so I'm thankful for that. I mean, when we watch Vandy games on TV, sometimes I have to mute it and just watch the game.
So did you have a response for the Tech Hecklers?
Oh, it's so funny when fans and stuff, they heckle you, they give you trash, they give you whatever. But when they give something creative, I always turn around and is like, that was a good one. And then they get so shell shocked because you actually responded. And my favorite is like, they'll just be wearing you out. Like, you stink, you don't deserve this. And then you'll turn around and start talking to them. And then they're like, no, I'm a huge fan. I was just talking to you. They just don't ever accept, like, we're human beings. Like, we don't come to your office and throw staples at you. Like, come on, it's the same thing. So it's always entertaining to entertain them, and they get sometimes shocked. So it's pretty fun to play with them.
Who got heckled the most when you were in New York? Which one of your teammates?
Everybody, but it's one of those things where I always, and it's a Pedro quote, and Pedro Martinez says, they don't boo nobodies. So when you're getting heckled and you're getting booed, it means you must be doing something.
That's fair.
I mean, everybody, it's like, you don't even have to be good. And if you put pinstripes on, like, there were some guys that didn't even play and they'd be getting booed. And, we'd be in the outfield for BP, and one of the young kids, he's like, I have like 3 days in the big leagues. You don't even know me. And it's just like, just because you put the uniform on, people boo you. So I love the fans. They are fantastic. I love the fact that just to interact with them. And, if they come up with something creative, I love to turn around and be like, man, you know what? That was fantastic. Like that. I laughed. That was a good one.
What's the most creative Boston fan ever got after you with?
I got hit with a battery, if that's creative.
Oh my Lord.
As far as anything else, no. I mean, in Boston, when I went to Detroit, Torrey Hunter was playing right field, and I came out in the fourth inning with Joe Nathan, and they started chanting Yankees suck. And Torrey Hunter turns around and walks to the crowd and he goes, you guys are idiots. He doesn't even play for New York anymore. And that's the stigma of what it goes. Like, I was in a Detroit uniform and they started chanting that. So it was a good laugh from everybody. But yeah, there was always a little extra security when I was in the bullpen. So it made it interesting.
Where'd the battery get you?
Like in the back, because you're so close to the fans at Fenway. And I was just taking a break in between pitches, and yeah, it just got me like right above my number.
How was the velocity?
Thank God it wasn't a D battery. Let's just put it that way.
Jabba Chamberlain with us. Husker great World Series champ. Huskers take down Vandy today. Jabba, a lot of fun, man. We'll do this again. Thanks for a few minutes.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
Good to talk with Jabba Chamberlain. And I mean, he's got stories upon stories upon stories of fans. I think Toronto, and apologies to any Labatt Blue lovers out there, but Toronto just got after it because their ball club wasn't good when he was playing the Blue Jays when he was with the Yankees. So they'd pour beer on him He got Beard in Fenway. You being a Cub guy, did you spend most of your Cub experiences? Did you do bleachers or were you along first or third base?
Well, when I was younger, we would just do in the main grandstand just because my parents didn't want to take a kid into the bleachers. But not that the bleachers are like
Child
dangerous,
Protective
but
may
yeah,
frown
like,
on that.
That's for, people my age now, right?
Yeah.
So and up. So, I mean, I have sat in the bleachers before. There was.
Are you a heckler, or do you just mind your own business?
If you ask the people around me at the Husker basketball games the past month, they would say yes, I am. But
so you have dove into that life.
It is. I have, because it's funny for me, especially during college basketball season, just because of how old some of the players are, because of
your
COVID
age
years and everything. And I do remember this one time, though. I was at a Cub game for one of my friend's birthdays, and we were in right field. And Alfonso Soriano was still on the Cubs, if you remember that that name. And
home run or strikeout?
Well, I don't remember what his offensive performance was like, probably because it was forgettable. But he was in the field, and this dude, he was secretly a Reds fan, but he had a Cubs jacket on over his Reds jersey, and he was yelling at Alfonso Soriano the entire game. And then finally, somebody turned around and is like, "You're literally a Cubs fan. Why are you yelling at him?" And then he unzips the jacket, and he's got the Reds jersey.
The great reveal.
It was unbelievable. Like, people legitimately got mad at him, but that's like the biggest probably heckler story I have from Wrigley specifically.
That's fair. I mean,
pretty good one.
I can only imagine between Cubs and Cards,
Oh,
it would get heated. And the Vandy Whistler is infamous, is the best way to put it. And his trips to the CWS, and Vandy fans are great, and all Ole Miss fans. And then there was the Hurdat posting of the Jello shot challenge,
yes,
which was iconic last year and will be resurrected again this year. But I never really, as a kid or even in the stands, I'd be loud during free throws, and it never worked. So did you do research on players?
Well, I didn't have to, because I already knew, like, okay, for instance, I would pick out one guy from a team. And this started actually with the Wisconsin game with Tyler Wall.
You're the reason they won against Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Your heckles.
Obviously. It was Tyler Wall, and it was Stephen Crowell. And I've got a buddy who goes to Wisconsin, so that made it even funnier because I was telling him about it. But every time Tyler Wall got the basketball, I would just scream his first name. And then my buddy would scream Stephen Crowell's first name every time he got the basketball. So it's nothing menacing. It's just something random. Whenever they touch the ball,
it's vocal distraction.
They got to hear you. And I think that's just kind of the funny part about it. And people were laughing around us. So it was received well. I wasn't trying to be like an a-hole or anything. It was just something funny.
Well, the research that was done on some of those Duke teams with Christian Laettner, folks would get very, very personal.
I mean, there literally is a documentary called "I Hate."
No,
Christian
I know,
Laettner.
but like they'd find out information on girlfriend. They'd put rumors out there. This is pre-internet. There were phone numbers. It's always funny to hear too, where the room number would get leaked out, and folks would be calling.
Oh no!
I think Miami would call up Oklahoma or Penn State during either the Fiesta Bowl or the Orange Bowls. This was off the U, where they called the opposing quarterback and pretty much threatened what they were going to do to him 12 hours from now during kickoff. So that was pretty funny. I never got nasty. No run our test moments, thank the Lord. We'll wind down hour one. Hail Varsity continues, presented by Currency.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-9336. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Providers help thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-9336. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-9336. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-444-9336. 800-444-9336.
The toilet sneeze. Every flush spews bacteria onto surfaces that little Bobby touches and then spreads to the light switch and everywhere else in the house. Yuck. So Dad uses Microban 24 to help stop the spread. It's the only sanitizing spray with a long-lasting shield that keeps killing 99.9% of bacteria on surfaces for up to 24 hours. Be confident you're protecting your family with Microban 24. Don't just sanitize it, Microban it.
Watch out! You got me! The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
I'm Brian. At 58, doctors told me I had the heart of a 37-year-old man. They told me that after my heart transplant surgery. If you're a smoker, here are some tips in case that happens to you. First, you have to quit smoking before you can get on a list for a transplant. So quit now and never feel sorry for yourself. I don't. I only feel sorry for that 37-year-old man.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
KFOR and Legacy Retirement Communities are taking nominations now for the Jerry Joyce Living Legacy Award to honor a compassionate, caring volunteer in our community. If you know an unsung hero in our area, we'd like to find out more about that person. The selected individual will receive up to $2,500 to donate to the nonprofit.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
One final time this hour, it's Hail Varsity. We're presented by Currency. For all your equipment financing needs, go Currency. Chris Schmidt, Connor Clark. Find us on Twitter at Schmidt_radio, at C_Clark_27, and can watch the show, the Hail Varsity YouTube channel. Find and follow that. All the great updates and info and post-presser reaction with the Hail Varsity YouTube channel. Can stream the show on the Hail Varsity Radio Twitter handle at HVarsity Radio. Can watch on Facebook and Twitter as well on KFOR Sports. And check out both Facebook links as well. We'll talk to Jacob Padilla less than an hour down at PBA. He's covering prep basketball. Did sneak over to the Hendrick Center for Nebraska basketball before they get to Iowa City. And an injury update from Coach Hoiberg for Nebraska basketball against the Hawkeyes. Wilhelm Breidenbach dealing with plantar fasciitis. That issue did not practice yesterday. Back and got some work today. I've never had plantar fasciitis, but it sucks. My dad had it. And imagine if you're a Wilhelm trying to patrol the paint and the perimeter with that heel issue. Blaze Keita still hasn't practiced, doubtful for Sunday. So Nebraska going to be limited and thin. They don't care, nor will Iowa. I think Iowa's got some payback on their mind. Really good interview. Encourage you to check out the podcast with Hail Varsity Radio, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, where you can download the whole show or different segments. Of course, our friends in the morning with Hail Varsity Radio, Coffee and Cream, Andrew Rogers and the great Damon Benning. Damon had a great sit down with Dr. Elza with Nebraska football today. That was at 9 a.m. That follows us on, at least locally here, Lincoln, at 9 a.m. And really, go check that out. She's really, really impressive, phenomenal pedigree, of course, from Texas with her administrative background and coaching background. But she's just really cool to listen to. And check that interview out. I believe that's posted Spotify, iTunes, Google Play with Coffee and Cream. So tremendous interview there. And we spent a little time with Coach McBride on it yesterday. But Nebraska's support staff is in that ilk of what Bama has, what Texas has, and think of all the high-level work you can get done with that many people and kind of under Coach Rule's direction, his attention to detail. And if you have all those sets of eyes, it can go one of two ways. It can be streamlined, and you can get a ton of work done, a ton of development, great communication. A culture can be set, and I think that's the way it's going to go with Rule. Or you can just have too many cooks in the kitchen. You're just bloated, and everyone's on payroll doing nothing. There's really just two sides to the coin. But I think Nebraska has found some really good people to become part of the football program, and Dr. Elza is absolutely. You hear all the great things about her, but what a get for Nebraska football. And she's as good as advertised, as impressive as advertised with that interview. So check that out. The Pride of Fairbury, NBC Sports. Bill Doleman, the professor, is going to join us. We'll tackle some Husker topics from the week that's been. Brady Oltman's recruiting and the NFL Combine. Jacob Padilla covers state basketball next hour with Hail Varsity, presented by Currency.
If you have an IRA or 401k, please listen closely. My name is Jason Hansen. I'm a former CIA officer and New York Times bestselling author. Throughout my career, let's just say I've been in some hairy situations. And I believe right now the biggest threat facing Americans is they need to protect their wealth, which is exactly what I'm doing for my wife and 6 kids. And I believe the ultimate safe haven is physical gold and silver. You can protect your hard-earned retirement assets with a tax-free loophole that allows you to convert your retirement into physical gold and silver. The folks I use are Advantage Gold, and believe me, I've investigated the heck out of all types of people. Advantage Gold is the nation's highest-rated gold company. They have the best process, pricing, and service. If you want to get your free gold and silver investment kit, please contact Advantage Gold right now, and you'll see how easy it is to protect yourself with precious metals. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
Call 800-900-8000.
Without the ones like you who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Attorney Joe Cordell. Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Lincoln area attorneys. 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska.
This is your station for local news, talk, sports, and weather. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. Some news about what was taken off of the U.S. Chief Executive, ABC's Dave Packer.
During last month's physical, President Biden had a small skin lesion removed from his chest. The White House doctor in a memo says a biopsy confirmed it was basal cell carcinoma, but says all cancerous tissue was successfully removed. The memo says the site of the biopsy is healed nicely, and dermatologists will continue keeping an eye on it.
President Biden at the White House thanking German Chancellor Olaf Scholz for his strong and steady help for Ukraine.
Together we work lockstep to supply critical security assistance to Ukraine, and from everything from what we've done in lockstep, ammunition, artillery, armored tanks, air defense systems, and we've been together throughout this.
Laughter he didn't apparently intend to provoke as he spoke to a conference in New Delhi, India. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov blaming Ukraine for the war.
You know, the war which we are trying to stop and which was launched against us using Ukrainian people.
Talking about holding Russia accountable for alleged war crimes in Ukraine, President Zelensky and top law enforcers from the West meeting in Lviv, including U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland. ABC News contributor Mick Mulroy, a former Pentagon official.
What we've seen in this campaign, this military campaign, is essentially a series of war crimes that we haven't seen much at all since the end of World War II. Most of the conventions that came out of World War II was to prevent this level of atrocities.
Everything's being done to ensure that the International Criminal Court is successful in punishing Russian war criminals, says Ukraine's president tonight to his nation. Wall Street's major indexes ended strongly higher for the day, and it was the best day for the stock markets in 6 weeks. The Dow added over 380 points. You're listening to ABC News.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I'm asking about Prevnar 20 because there's a chance pneumococcal pneumonia could put me in the hospital. Age 65 or older, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com. I want to be able to keep my plans.
So I'm asking my doctor about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
Good afternoon. I'm Jeff Moats, KFOR News. 55 degrees in Lincoln. The bill removing the permitting process of carrying concealed weapons in Nebraska advanced from the first round debate today in the legislature. Lawmakers voted 36-12 in favor of LB 77 from Gordon Senator Tom Brewer.
The founding fathers in Nebraska were thinking, because you can twist the Second Amendment however you want. But if you read the First Amendment of the Nebraska Constitution, it is clear as day. There is no gray there what exactly was meant by giving us the right to keep and bear arms, to protect our families, to protect our businesses.
Lawmakers overcame a filibuster from Omaha Senator Michaela Cavanaugh to advance the bill, which got 35 votes to invoke cloture. It needed 33. Lincoln police say a 24-year-old man at last check is in critical condition with life-threatening injuries after he was hurt when his truck rolled Thursday evening heading southbound along Northwest 1st Street, south of West Fletcher Avenue. Sergeant Chris Vollmer says the crash happened by Fire Station 14.
When he struck the curb on the median, the truck began to roll. The driver was ejected from the vehicle.
Alcohol and drugs are believed to be involved, but the investigation is ongoing. Deputies arrested a 24-year-old Lincoln man that was intoxicated and had fictitious license plates on a car he was driving near Pawnee Lake just after midnight Friday morning. Lancaster County Chief Deputy Ben Houchin says the traffic stop was initiated near Northwest 98th and West Adams, but the vehicle was later pulled over at Northwest 112th and West Superior.
Initially, I think the deputy probably believed the guy just didn't see him, but it was very obvious as he kept going that he was not going to stop and was taken into custody without incident.
24-year-old Jake Wayman of Lincoln was arrested for aggravated DWI and having fictitious plates, among other offenses. At the girls' state basketball tournament today, Malcolm fell in the C1 semifinal 48-42 to three-time defending state champ North Bend Central. Tonight on KFOR at 7:40, it's the Class A semifinal with Lincoln High facing Millard North. Lincoln's first forecast for tonight will have increasing clouds, overnight low around 32, then decreasing clouds through the day, tomorrow on a high of 53. I'm Jeff Moats, KFOR News.
Paid for by Stansberry.
With massive layoffs in nearly every sector, weakness in manufacturing, and the biggest one-month decline in the trade deficit since the financial crisis, the economic picture is not looking good, which might explain why so many billionaires are loading up on gold, including hedge fund manager John Paulson and real estate mogul Sam Zell. Bottom line, now is the time to own gold. which is why the experts at Stansberry Research just stepped forward with a major gold prediction, arguing gold could soar as high as $3,000 by the end of the year, possibly even higher. You can find out why and get instant access to their number one gold investment today. It's not bullion, an ETF, or a mining stock, but in the past, this gold strategy could have made you nearly 50x your money. You don't want to waste any time missing out on the gains these experts believe are in store for
The voice of Husker Nation is on the air. This is Hail Varsity Radio. Insight, opinion, expertise, along with the biggest names talking Nebraska sports. Join in with Joe at 402-489-1240 or 1-800-825-5865. Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbal.
Back with you, it's Hour 2. It's Hail Varsity Radio. We're presented by Currency. For all your equipment financing needs, go Currency. Chris Schmidt, Connor Clark, Elijah. We have checked on him. He's alive and well, but it's still only, 4 o'clock in Vegas. So Bill Doleman with his Pride of Fairbury, NBC Sports, the professor at Bill Doleman on Twitter. You can watch the show, the Hail Varsity YouTube channel. You want to watch and listen, or the Hail Varsity Twitter handle at HVarsity Radio. Billy D, I've not been to Vegas. Someday you and I will make that inaugural journey to crash with our dear friend Tony George. Until then, Elijah's going to go see Ultimate Fighting and do it. You were how old when you made your first trip to Vegas?
Oh, geez. Probably late 20s, I think. I had to wait a little while, but not nearly as long as you have waited, and I'm still dumbfounded by the fact that you have not been out there. You said that Elijah is alive and well, so I take it that he hasn't broken into Mike Tyson's place to steal a tiger, or has gotten into a little bit of trouble with roofies at a liquor store on the Strip.
No, Zach Galifianakis is not with him. He has not run into his pal Chow. And there is no rooftop ransom waiting that we know of.
Yeah. Well, it's still young, and it's only Friday.
It is. He should be parked out by the Hard Rock Hotel pool is what he should be doing.
I have been there a lot.
You've been to the Hard Rock Hotel pool?
That was the hotel when I was in the Mountain West Conference. That was basically the network and conference headquarter hotel. So I think I may have spent about a year of my life at the Hard Rock Hotel in Las Vegas.
Well, is it as good as advertised? No endorsement fundage coming your way, of course, but did you enjoy yourself?
Chris, whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
I get that, but I had to ask, I had to try.
Even for a work trip?
Yeah, especially for a work trip, brother.
Yeah.
So, well, I have told Elijah to avoid the mushrooms and all those good things that are in Vegas and just focus on. He's a smart kid, so focus on learning the intricacies of craps. Go win at Hold'em, and don't hit on 13 or above.
There are a lot of smart people who have done a lot of stupid things in Las Vegas over the years. That's why the lights are still on. All right.
Absolutely. Let's spend a second on Husker baseball. We spent a lot of hour one, but statement win. We know how long the baseball season is, so it's just one win, but it is one win over a national champion and a program the caliber of Vandy. I loved Will Bolt's message after the game, and I think he knows what this team can be, and I think he likes seeing what not only getting the win, but how they got it done today.
Well, it's very significant given the start of the season. What happened out in San Diego was disastrous. And look, that's a nice program out there, but Nebraska at worst should have gone 2-2. And I know how disappointed and angry that team was when they got back from California. And I think that was kind of an identity check. And if you're a baseball team that's coming off the kind of season Nebraska had last year, when hopes were so high after the previous season, and to have a bad 2022, they wanted to open up with a good statement series in San Diego, and it did not happen. And the season could have tanked after those 4 games, and especially after that one inning in which you're up 16-11, and you blow that and you salvage a tie. I mean, this has been a really dramatic and important start for the Nebraska baseball team. They could have really tanked the season again. But to come back and do what they did against South Alabama was significant. And I think going to Minnesota, most Nebraska baseball observers, for how casual they are right now, because we're coming off the high of the winning streak in basketball and with what's going on with Matt Rule in football and all of those kinds of things, the volleyball news, we're in that easing into the baseball season for fans, right? They know what happened in San Diego. But I think most people would have thought if they could get one win, and that would be Hawaii that they were pointing at, one win in Minnesota, that would be nice. 2 wins, knocking off one of the ranked teams there, being Ole Miss or Vanderbilt, would have been significant. And now you're looking at the way they played today. Why not go 3-0? And then when you come back, you've got 9 straight home games against, the kind of schedule that you had wins with, right? Northern Colorado, Illinois State, Nicholls State, Omaha. 13 of the next 14 games are at Haymarket, and the only game that's not at Haymarket is in Omaha against Creighton. So you do well at Minnesota, get 2 wins at least there, and come back. This is a top 25 team going into conference play, if not now.
Well, Bill, you mentioned that everybody kind of looked at Hawaii as being that one game that Nebraska could win in this 3-game pod in Minnesota. Well, how does that change from how do you not lose to Hawaii after beating one of the best teams in the country? How do you avoid the hangover, if you will, tomorrow? Because that's still an equally as big of a game. And if you want to win all 3, obviously, it starts with tomorrow as well.
If I'm Will Bolt, I just keep showing box scores or a video of San Diego. I think that's my season-long motivator. You come into this season thinking we are putting 2022 behind us. That was a bad year. We're a new team. We're a hungry team. Same mentality that, nearly went to the CWS 2 years ago. And you come out of the gate and play like that, and you collapse in the 4th game when you had a chance to win. I would humble my team really quick and remind them of just where they were 2 weeks ago and how they felt when they rode, when they got home at 3:00 in the morning and had to get up for class with that hangover in San Diego. So I think he has plenty of ammunition to get his team's attention pretty quickly and to say you still have to focus and enjoy the win that you had over Vanderbilt because you played to your potential. Now keep doing it.
Bill Doleman joins us, Hail Varsity Radio. Husker baseball, a big W today as they took down Vanderbilt. That's the feel-good story. They earned it. They made enough plays in the field at the dish, some really timely hitting, and didn't get drilled too bad. So basketball, Nebraska.
Let me just say something real quick about the win today that I don't think people have really talked about much. And I think that's the first couple of innings. They let Vanderbilt had 2 men on in the top of the first inning, right? And got out with 1 out, I think, and got out of it. And then Nebraska had the bases loaded. It only managed 1 run and left the bases loaded in their half of the second inning, I think. Nebraska left 5 on base in the first 3 innings. These are those little moments in games that people forget about. Nebraska, they had 13 hits and 8 doubles and a key home run and a nice play defensively. But to shut them out in that first inning and they strand 2 guys, I thought that was significant. And then to come back after the disappointment when you have a chance to have a big inning, leaving the bases loaded and only scoring 1 run, but they still came back and they still played great baseball. They didn't get down when they had an opportunity to get down early and to not come back. I like those first 2 or 3 innings as the real key to why they won the game late.
Yeah, they could have rolled over easily.
Big time thought there. That's a great take and a great point where, 9 left on and you left 2 stranded. You get the pitcher's best friend, the double play ball, and you're able to stabilize. It was a prove-it year for Fred Hoiberg. Nebraska still within conversation, although it's a little steeper hill to get to postseason in the NIT. But Fred really put a nice February together, and this team molded and persevered. And what did Fred prove to you this season? I don't know how Iowa's going to go. I think I know how Iowa's going to go Sunday, and I think I know how things are going to end in the Big Ten tournament. All that being said, what did Fred's performance, what did this team say to you this year?
He's got really good character guys. He knows how to foster some chemistry, I think, with the guys that they had. Last year was fun when you had the McGowan's brothers, and certainly somebody who was apparently going to be a longtime pro, and it was fun watching him for a year. But to put that team together the way they did with getting Griesel and getting them to buy into each other, and I like the chemistry that he fostered and the adjustments that they made. The win over Creighton was great. But when you lost both of those defensive guys, when you're, averaging 60 points per game and you're a really good defensive team, and losing those two guys and then adjusting the way they did from a bad January to a great February, I thought his coaching job in the last 2 months was, some of the best that he may have done in his entire career. I just love the chemistry of this team, I think everybody does and appreciates the way they play.
Email in from our dear friend and listener, Kent. What's coming back? What's coming in for Fred? Or have you thought that far ahead? I think there's we'll see about Tominaga, if he comes back or not. I really like Jamarcus. I think he's grown and played at a really high level. He could be a double-digit scorer for Nebraska moving forward. Development-wise, Fred's guys have gotten better if they stay, right? And in their careers, I've seen that. Look at Derek Walker specifically. So I think Breidenbach's a guy that I'm not ready to check out on with his skill set. Same with Keita. If he can stay healthy. So, and then you've got Pride of Alabama coming back as well, presumably. So that's kind of what's returning, and you got to go fishing, don't you, Bill, for a couple more Griesel type guys? I know they had a walk-on kid from Air Force in that's Griesel like that may transfer in, but that's, folks that are disappointed in the cumulative 4 years. That's their question here. What's coming back? What's coming in? How does next year be better? So at minimum, it's an NIT.
Well, let's not forget the kid who washes the dishes and mows the yard at home. Sam Hoiberg's coming back, I would assume. I don't think he's declared yet.
Before that conversation go over dinner. Hey, thanks for the pizza, Dad. I'm hitting the portal.
People fell in love with Sam Hoiberg, and justifiably so, the way he played. You've got Lloyd, the point guard. Is it Ramil Lloyd? That they contemplated, playing him and preserve the redshirt year. And so I would assume that, he's going to be here, but in this transitional period of basketball that we're in, who knows who's going to be back and who's going to be available on the free agent market, in college basketball. But if you can get Tominaga to come back, and you've got Hoiberg coming back, I'm with you. I think Lawrence is terrific. Keita proved that he can be a solid player if he can stay healthy. Gary's going to come back, I think. So there's some good pieces that were part of what they built this season and developed into this season, that if you can maintain that kind of chemistry, then it's kind of parallel to Will Bolt's team in 2021 that, I was referring to earlier. Everybody loved that team, the chemistry it had, the way they played the game of baseball. Everybody loved this Nebraska basketball team and the way they played the game, and they hustled and fought and played for each other and played to the crowd. You've got to capitalize on that and try to figure out what that formula was. And Derek Walker was a big reason for that. And congratulations to him on coming back, though. I think what he did for the program and for himself, this was a very valuable season for him. Nebraska's got to find that kind of maturity and experience that will help keep that team together in that chemistry kind of way.
Yeah, you're going to have to move it forward next year. It's another, dare I say, prove it year for Fred, but I think he gets that. And if they can avoid the injury bug and maximize some good moments and pieces from this roster, we'll see where they can shake out. Big Ten, I don't know yet, Bill, how many will get in on Selection Sunday. Pretty damning loss for Rutgers, but I still think Rutgers has that win at Purdue in their back pocket to stay in the field of 68.
Yeah.
Penn State, Wisconsin, Michigan, all have had tough losses. They'll need to put a little bit of a run together, but even Illinois stubbed their toe as well earlier in the week. So Minnesota, while being the 14 seed, is looking a little bit like Nebraska last year towards the end of the season.
You don't want to play them come tournament time.
Guess who
right?
gets them? Guess who probably gets them on Wednesday?
I think the way college basketball has gone this season, and I've said the Big Ten's a bunch of club fighters knocking each other out as opposed to a bunch of great heavyweights, in the ring. But the way the whole season has gone, there's enough respect for the Big Ten that they'll have maybe more teams get in than they probably should or would. I mean, everybody's right around 500 in league play. But they'll probably, get in on a reputation that, they just beat each other up because it's such a tough league to play. Because quite frankly, there's not a lot of other great teams outside of, let's face it, the Big 12 is the best conference in the country. The Big 10's going to get its share, 7 probably, I would think, maybe 8. I don't know.
Bill, we'll see you this weekend. Thanks for jumping on. Good to spend a few minutes with you, man.
All right, boys, go Big Red.
There he is, Pride of Fairbury, Bill Doleman, hunkered down in his office. NBC Sports, the professor, Bill Doleman. Brady Oltmans, we'll talk Combine and some visitors coming up with Nebraska football.
Hail Varsity is a must-have for true Husker fans. Get a monthly magazine that'll make checking the mail fun again. Daily analysis and breaking news, including the inside scoop on recruiting on HailVarsity.com. And every June, you'll get the Nebraska Football Yearbook, a season preview completely dedicated to Nebraska football that's as comprehensive as national previews. Use that promo code AR for monthly subscriptions, that yearly promo code DB at HailVarsity.com.
The dangers of secondhand smoke are well known. But what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Husker fans, mark your calendars for March 24th as your Husker baseball team will be retiring the jerseys of 3 former All-Americans. Darren Erstad, Alex Gordon, and Shane Comine will be honored before the game with a first pitch and unveiling of their retired jerseys. First pitch is set for 6:05 p.m. Come early to receive a commemorative jersey retirement item while supplies last. Bring everyone and help fill Haymarket Park with these 3 Husker greats. Go to Huskers.com/tickets or call 1-800-8-BIG RED now.
As the Nebraska winter drags on, count on KFOR to keep your family safe. Immediate news and severe weather updates. School closings on demand at KFORnow.com. And the award-winning KFOR News and Weather Team to keep you ahead of the storm. Stay connected and stay safe. KFOR, FM 101.5 and 1240 AM.
Businesses don't run on automation or algorithms alone. What powers businesses are your people and the people they serve. At Cintas, your dedicated service reps understand what you need to help you keep your employees feeling safe, comfortable, and performing their best. So your business can too. For workwear, essential cleaning products, first aid and safety supplies, and fire protection services, visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed. Oh, yeah? Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Thanks for spending time a Friday. It's Hail Varsity Radio. Weekend edition tomorrow, 7:30 on the Hail Varsity YouTube channel. Also, the Twitter handles and Facebook can catch us. Mark Cranack, myself, Sharpie, and yes, Mr. Brandon Vogel. We say hey to Brady Oltmans as he is hunkered down. My man, you are always on top of it for combine updates, recruiting coverage, football stories. Do you venture outside? I know you take Archie for a walk now and then, and we may meet at a watering hole from time to time, you and I, to test and make sure the whiskey supplies sound in Lincoln. But how we doing, man? You excited for the weekend? What are you up to?
Going to try to take the dog out for a little bit of walk, do a little bit of excursion. Might try to get to Schramm, if the weather holds up. Probably not Saturday because it's a big combine day, but maybe squeeze in a little bit of time on Sunday. And then Husker Soccer is doing a little 3-game jamboree on Sunday, so I'm going to head out to Hawks and spend some time there.
That'll be good. The guy that's in town for state basketball, Carter Nelson, able to spend some time with Nebraska. And let's get an update there as Nelson back at campus, checking out winter conditioning. Again, Matt Rule getting all the right visits unofficially, even during the dead period. And it just kind of speaks to his persistence level. And Brady, this thing sounds really too good to be true right now, with just how effective Nebraska's been in communication and their ability to get some response from so many high-level prospects.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing we knew about Matt Rule when he took the job is he's an aggressive recruiter. He's all about it. They hit the recruiting trail. It opened up and they had like 3 assistants, they didn't even have their full coaching staff until after signing day. So they really go at it hard. And I think their evaluation and how they recruit kids, they build the relationship, but they want to make the kids known that they are priorities. I mean, they are really, maybe not urgency is the right word, but they really want to let the kids know that, hey, we want you now, kind of thing. Like we're here for you in the long run, but it's going to start now, And I think the thing that interests me most about Carter Nelson, not only just like him as a prospect, I mean, he's an incredible athlete, and I think there's a reason why he's getting offers from Georgia and Alabama as well. You know what I mean? It stood out to me on his visit. His family went along with him, and the Nebraska coaching staff had pads and a jersey the size for his little brother to be there and take pictures with him. And like it's just a little, those little details like that. And of course, Matt Rule describes himself as a detail-oriented guy. Those are the kinds of details that I think stand out when you talk recruiting, when you talk about building relationships, especially for in-state athletes. And I think that those are the things that really in-state recruits really tend to be drawn to.
Brady Oltmans is with us on Hail Varsity Radio. Brady, when you are covering the NFL draft, and this is just something that I'm curious about too, what do you look for most, either in Husker guys who are there or just anybody who are there? Like, what do you think is the most important drill that you look out for when covering these guys?
Well, it varies. The particular drills kind of vary by position, but I'd say just fluidity. The college game to pro game it's such an elevated step. I mean, you're talking about the greatest football players on the planet are playing in the NFL versus, some very good football players at college. They need to be able to flow and move at the speed of the game and be able to adapt well in order to stand out. I think O'Shawn showed a little bit of it yesterday. I don't think he ran his 40 as well as he wanted to, but in a lot of the fluidity and kind of bag drills that they had to do, he kind of showed a little bit of that. I'll be curious to see what Travis and Trey do there. Obviously, Trey's speed and everything like that stands out. And Travis has kind of probably got an uphill battle to fight. And I think showing a little bit of that agility would help him stand out.
Want to go back to recruiting and with the 2024 in-state prospects, of course, Carter Nelson is tops on the board, and he's by most of the national outlets is a top 100 or right there prospect in the country. You have a boatload of West Side kids and McMorris and Davon Hall, Kalen also the quarterback, and then some other metro area prospects with Pyform from Central and Murphy from Elkhorn South. DeFrand looks like he's in on Dion, the talented Lincoln High cornerback, but Caleb Benning and Teddy Rizak are just studs from West Side. And then I've liked watching Jacob Arope do his best Charles Barkley for Bell West on the hardwood. He's a beast of an offensive tackle. Right now, I mean, what do you think Nebraska does with this 2024 class? They seem to be in good standing, in good position to get all of them. Do you think they try and take all of them? And we're talking 9 kids in state again.
I think they want to get every kid that they think is going to make a big impact. I think that you and I have talked about before, Danny Kaline's kind of a weird situation because
Sure.
I mean,
he's at with the recruiting a quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's tough sledding to come into this particular recruiting class for him. Davon Hall, he's in College Station this weekend, I believe, taking a visit to Texas A&M, who just offered him, and he just got an offer from Ole Miss as well. I mean, he's getting the big offers coming in. Isaiah McMorris is starting to pick up a little bit of steam. Those are two, athletic receivers that fit Rule's prototype and what he's looking for. And then I think Caleb Benning kind of also fits that mold of what he's looking for in terms of a person and in terms of like the mold in framework of what he's looking for in an athlete. And then, you got those big linemen. I mean, they took a lot of big in-state linemen this last recruiting class. I think that they see that as a good position to hammer home again in 2024. So I think that they want to keep the best in-state talent in Nebraska, but then you've also just got to compete with what you have odd circumstances with some of the best talent. They want to get top caliber guys from the country, and then that kind of muddies the waters a little bit.
Brady Altman's with us from HailVarsity.com and magazine. Some recruiting discussion going on at Brady Altman's on Twitter. I think a dude in this state is Teddy Rizak, listed as athlete, phenomenal ball player. And he's a guy that you can, and Rule's been great at this, finding the best position for a kid. There's so many options you could go with Teddy on either side of the football for you. Yeah, I mean, he is just an exceptional athlete and the kind of kid that would flourish in Matt Rule's system. I don't know at what point he says, okay, I want to be this position, or I see myself, playing this particular position. Whereas the Rule coaching staff might say, hey, if you want to play in the NFL, or if you want to have the, shine on the brightest stages, we can help you get to it. But we see you more in line of X position or Y position all over. But I don't know. He's one of those kids that I think that maybe you might see kind of ramp up a little bit more in the spring here. Once they get him in for the spring game or a little bit later in spring practices compared to like that big rush that they've got coming in the first week. Okay. Back to the combine, back to Indy. You're an NFL GM, Brady. You and Archie moved to pick an NFL city. What quarterback do you like best in this draft? I probably say Bryce Young. I mean, I get the intangibles and I get that they do all the measurements and everything because it's a lot of money and there's a lot of, risk involved in the NFL draft, especially at quarterback. But I'm also an advocate for the number one measurable is winning.
And if you're a quarterback that can win,
you and Charlie Sheen, I love it.
I understand that Alabama didn't win a championship this last year, but Bryce kind of had it wasn't for a lack of effort at the quarterback position. So I'm just saying he's a guy that high risk, high reward, go for him.
Do you like him more than, say, Justin Fields? Would you rather have him than Justin
Bears fan
Fields
asking
right
for
now?
a friend.
I've thought about this, and I think you listen to offers. Maybe you do a little bit of the college game. You if you're the Bears, you draft Bryce now. You put those two together, see who shines out, and then basically say, all right, well, somebody give us your best, last, and final offer for the other quarterback, and see if you can get a little bit of return in exchange for a potential NFL franchise quarterback.
It blows me away that listen, you can go 11-2, and you had 2 2-point losses in overtime. LSU and Tennessee, have fun with that road schedule. And they had great receivers, but they didn't have like elite receivers this year. The run game was not as stout. They had about 9 penalties a game. They were undisciplined in comparison to past Bama teams, but they didn't win it. And you're going to have probably the number 1 quarterback taken and the number 1 edge guy in Will Anderson. That just blow you away to think about out loud that, all right, Bama regressed with 2 top 5 picks.
Yeah, well, and it's one of those instances where it's an Alabama team that kind of regressed, whereas if it's any other team in the country, that has that kind of season, everybody says, yeah, that's the one we remember, kind of thing. But I don't know, it just goes to show, because the caliber of athlete we're seeing now is incredible. I mean, you look at those guys, and then you look at like a Jalen Carter, and just the movements in a guy of that size with that kind of movement, speed, and velocity and power. I mean, this is the college athletes now, and especially now in the SEC. And I think you're going to start seeing a little bit, maybe more commonplace, or a little bit more spread out, I should say, instead of common. These caliber of athletes are just incredible that we're seeing now.
Well, the latest Kuiper mock draft has the Texans trading up to take Bryce Young, Indy trading up to get CJ Stroud, and the Cardinals, air quote, settling for Will Anderson at number 3. Jalen Carter falling to Chicago. Sorry, Connor, with the 4th pick. But you can get a king's ransom with trading that number 1 overall. Brady Oltman's with us. Brady, we'll check you out on Twitter this weekend. We might pop by for a drink as well at some point this weekend. And thanks for your time. Thanks for your coverage as always.
Appreciate you guys. Always happy to have a drink.
There he is. Brady Oltman's with us, HailVarsity.com and magazine at Brady Oltman's. Find him on Twitter. Quick timeout. We'll head to PBA next with Hail Varsity, presented by Currency.
Girls State basketball Friday night, the Class A semifinal. Lincoln High takes on Millard North. I'm Jeff Moats. You can join me for the play-by-play. Coverage begins at 7:40 right here.
FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR.
If you have an IRA or 401k, please listen closely. My name is Jason Hansen. I'm a former CIA officer and New York Times bestselling author. Throughout my career, let's just say I've been in some hairy situations. And I believe right now the biggest threat facing Americans is they need to protect their wealth, which is exactly what I'm doing for my wife and 6 kids. And I believe the ultimate safe haven is physical gold and silver. You can protect your hard-earned retirement assets with a tax-free loophole that allows you to convert your retirement into physical gold and silver. The folks I use are Advantage Gold, and believe me, I've investigated the heck out of all types of people. Advantage Gold is the nation's highest rated gold company. They have the best process, pricing, and service. If you want to get your free gold and silver investment kit, please contact Advantage Gold right now, and you'll see how easy it is to protect yourself with precious metals. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
Call 800-900-8000. $1,000.
I'm here visiting Ireland to see if it's true that the Irish really are lucky. There may be some truth to that old saying.
Todd Spidell, body shop owner, terrible driver.
It seems that I have nothing but bad luck when it comes to driving. Whoa, watch out for the sheep. Good thing you don't need luck to find a reputable body shop. Since 1990, Spidell Body Works has repaired thousands of cars with door dings or hail damage, all the way up to major collisions, and we have a limited lifetime warranty. There's something you really should know. Not now, Mulligan. Even the paint products we use have a lifetime warranty. You should drive on the right side of the road. I am on the right side of the road. No, the left side of the road. Huh? Oh, well, would you look at that? Not a scratch on me. I guess it is true. What about the car? Oh, well, back to Spidell.
Accidents happen, even to good drivers. If it happens to you, call Spidell Body Works. We won't try to sell you a car, change your oil, or paint your car for $2.99. But if you want your vehicle fixed right, Spidell Body Works is your best decision after a collision.
Here's a message just for the attorneys out there. So you passed the bar, joined a firm, or even built your own. Now are you finding out that you're doing more administration than actual law practice? Lexicon can help. Lexicon is a legal technology provider with over a decade of experience streamlining administrative tasks like timekeeping, billing, and more, so you can focus on maximizing billable hours and increasing client satisfaction. Call 855-4-LEXICON or visit lexiconservices.com/go to learn more.
Back Monday with KFOR Schmidt and Carroll.
The sentence will be handed down in the Alex Murdaugh case. Highlights of the CPAC.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Let's head to PBA. Jacob Padilla doing awesome coverage as always for HailVarsity.com magazine, Nebraska coverage, Husker volleyball coverage, football, volleyball, basketball, state tournament coverage as Jacob is posting up and boxing out girls state action here and then next week for boys. Jacob, how's the day been, man? Give us an update and what are some impressions? Thanks for a few minutes courtside. We got you muted, bud.
There we go.
No, I got you. Here we go.
There we go. Apologize for the background noise, but yeah, I'm live on location here as the Class A girls semifinals are getting ready to tip off here. It's been a great day here at PBA. The C1 semifinals were fantastic. Both went down to the wire, and then the Class B games were both blowouts, but saw some pretty spectacular individual performances as well. So it's been a fun week at PBA.
Britt Prince is good as advertised, looking at a third trip to the B final, and she went off again. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, 30 points. She missed one shot, and it was a 3 from the half-court logo at the end of the first quarter. Oddly enough, I think she probably took the shot from York on the map and came up about an inch short. And that's the only shot she missed. So put up 30 in less than 3 full quarters of work. Just 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 steals. Just phenomenal performance. She's been so incredibly good this week. As she has been all season. It's very much looking forward to tomorrow's matchup between Scott and Elkhorn North, a rematch of the first weekend of the season when Scott handed Elkhorn North its only loss of the season.
Jacob Padilla is with us on Hail Varsity Radio. Jacob, I saw earlier, I believe it was today, that North Bend Central escaped into yet another championship game. They're going for a 4-peat, correct me if I'm wrong. What is it about that team, and how do they just keep sneaking their way back in, and not even sneaking, but just getting all the way back to the mountaintop and having a chance to win a title?
The Emanuel sisters. One graduates and they bring another one, and she steps up and plays a huge game. Caitlin Emanuel is senior now. She's going for her 4th state title. She was good again today. Finished with 20 points. Went 5 of 6 from the free throw line in the 4th quarter. And her sister Lindsay Emanuel, sophomore now, stepping up, 16 points, and she was really good defensively. Really good athlete there. But credit to Malcolm. They gave North Bend Central everything they could handle there. Freshman Hallie Dolliver, fantastic. Had 15 over 25 in the 4th quarter to lead Malcolm back and give them a chance to win that game. But North Bend, in the end, they made a few few clutch defensive plays down the stretch, and then salted the game away at the free throw line. But Oliver's a name you're going to hear a lot. He's a really good volleyball player as well over the next 3 years there for Malcolm.
Jacob Padilla's courtside PBA, Hail Varsity Radio. Jacob, thoughts on Lincoln High tonight, their task against Millard North? What do you see?
It's going to be all decision-making for them, taking care of the ball. Millard North likes to play fast, like to get up pressure. They pass the ball. Everybody takes shots. Not necessarily one player that you have to lock down on for them. They just kind of have everybody. They play a bunch of girls, and all of them contribute. So Lincoln High's got to take good shots and take care of the basketball. If they do that and bring their usual intensity, physicality, and go hard, like they're gonna have a chance to win this thing. It should be. Looking forward to both these Class A semifinals. I think they both have a chance to be fantastic.
Avril Smith from Millard North, had a chance to see her for the first time earlier this week, and she is so talented where she's great on the glass, but she is so active. Her footwork and her mobility for someone her height and size, she's special, and Millard North does a great job of getting that inside-out kick and look for three.
And she's got good touch, too. Key for her is going to be staying out of foul trouble. Seems like every single game I watch her, she picks up 2 quick fouls, constantly playing in foul trouble. So they're going to need to keep her on the court. And, again, like she's capable of having a big game. Sarah Harley shot the ball really well in their opening game, hit 5 threes. Izzy Galligan's a freshman playing up. They've got you go up and down the line. Again, you never know. Like they rarely are going to have somebody with 20. It's going to be 12, 9, 7, 8, 15 maybe. That's a tough thing about that Millard North. They're so offensively balanced. It's hard to key in on any one player. See, Lincoln High, we know that group of veterans there. Kiana Wiley coming off the bench, that was huge. And then Divine Harris, she was the best player on the floor in the fourth quarter in that first round game and willed them to that victory. That was anybody's game, and she made so many big plays down the stretch. And we know Brianna Robinson, Jalen Brill, like they've got a bunch of players that can play. So it's going to be a lot of really talented players in that second semifinal tonight. So,
Jeff Moats will have that coverage locally here for you tonight. So got to ask real quick, Husker basketball, Iowa. You've got Wilhelm dealing with the plantar fasciitis. Saw your tweet earlier at Jacob Padilla _ Blaze is still dinged. What are your expectations Sunday?
I have no idea. With the way that Iowa shot the ball the last 2 games, after the way they shot the ball the first 2, I don't know what to expect with this Hawkeye team. Could not throw it in the ocean 2 games in a row, made a combined 6 threes on a whole lot of attempts. And then they followed up, hit 30 of their 66 threes in the last 2. If Iowa does that, then Nebraska doesn't have a chance. We saw with the way that Michigan State picked them apart in that second half. You're going to get threes against Nebraska's defense, especially without Blaze as an option to kind of limit the double teams. You're going to need them to not have a great shooting night like they did in the first game down in PBA, where they scored 50 points. Nebraska was all over them in that one, and Iowa just couldn't get looks to ball. So at this point in the season, with where the roster is, they're going to need some good shooting luck to go their way to have a chance. We might see a little bit of Denham Dawson in this one to match up with Chris Murray, especially considering you're probably not going to have Blaze. You don't know if Wilhelm's going to play, and if he can, how long can he go? What can he give you? So Hoiberg said he talked with Dawson, who's kind of fallen out of the rotation the last few weeks now. Said he's got to be ready because they're going to need him with their lack of depth in the front court and with that Murray matchup in particular.
Jacob, 90 seconds. Lincoln has 3 teams in state next week for boys, and East, Southeast, and North Star. Who can make a run in Lincoln, in your opinion?
I mean, honestly, outside of Bell West, I think anybody, like the rest of the field is pretty darn balanced, and anybody could win any of those games. I think Bell West has earned itself into the top tier, clearly separate, but obviously East has had the best season. They've been the most reliable of those teams so far, but again, matchups, depending on how you're playing. North Star, they're a tough matchup with their length and the shifting zones. That can be a tough prep for a quick turnaround if you get them. Maybe if they are able to win that first game, you get them in the second round. So, I mean, again, like Class A, I think Bell West will have a good shot there, but all the rest of those games, I think we have a chance to have a pretty darn good Class A tournament.
Jacob Padilla, courtside. Follow him at Jacob Padilla on Twitter for all your high school state tournament updates. Jacob, take care. We'll talk soon. Thank you.
Do you know the common signs of transmission trouble?
Your engine revs before falling into gear. Shifting is rough, or you're leaking reddish-brown fluid.
Knowing the signs could mean repair instead of replace.
That's where we come in. We're certified transmission.
The job done right at the right price.
Get the latest updates on local weather conditions, warnings, and watches. Text WARNING to 402-258-2800 to sign up for mobile alerts via text message from KFOR Mobile Weather Alerts powered by Lincoln Electric System. Standard message and data rates may apply.
Paid for by Stansberry.
With massive layoffs in nearly every sector, weakness in manufacturing, and the biggest one-month decline in the trade deficit since the financial crisis, the economic picture is not looking good, which might explain why so many billionaires are loading up on gold, including hedge fund manager John Paulson and real estate mogul Sam Zell. Bottom line, now is the time to own gold, which is why the experts at Stansberry Research just stepped forward with a major gold prediction, arguing gold could soar as high as $3,000 by the end of the year, possibly even higher. You can find out why and get instant access to their #1 gold investment today. It's not bullion, an ETF, or a mining stock, but in the past, this gold strategy could have made you nearly 50x your money. You don't want to waste any time missing out on the gains these experts believe are in store for this gold stock. To get the full story, go online to goldapproach22.com. Goldapproach22.com.
Here's a message just for the attorneys out there. So you passed the bar, joined a firm, or even built your own. Now are you finding out that you're doing more administration than actual law practice? Lexicon can help. Lexicon is a legal technology provider with over a decade of experience streamlining administrative tasks like timekeeping, billing, and more, so you can focus on maximizing billable hours and increasing client satisfaction. Call 855-4-LEXICON or visit lexiconservices.com/go to learn more.
Hi, David Brooks here, inviting you to join me this Saturday morning at 11 a.m. for the Retire Smart Radio Show, where we'll provide you answers to your most pressing retirement questions and help you navigate these uncertain financial times. Don't just retire, retire smart. This Saturday morning, 11 a.m.
Smart Wealth LLC is a federally registered investment advisor under the Investment Advisors Act of 1940 and an affiliate of Retire Smart. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. Information about Smart Wealth LLC can be found by visiting advisorinfo.sec.gov and searching by the advisor's name.
Chloe, put your helmet on.
Okay, Dad. You work hard to protect your family, but some risks are easy to miss. Mosquito bites can spread germs that cause West Nile virus or Zika virus. Cockroaches leave behind bacteria, as well as allergens that can trigger asthma attacks. Stinging insects send more than 500,000 people to the emergency room.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
One final time, a Friday Hail Varsity Radio presented by Currency for all your equipment financing needs. Go Currency. Chris Schmidt, Connor Clark. As a weekend edition will stream tomorrow. And check that out on the Hail Varsity YouTube channel. Myself, Mark Kranek. We will get the weekend plans of one Connor Clark, as he's officially going into this first weekend as a 21-year-old and has some buddies that are no doubt. Do I need to call my buddy Seth at the bar, Seth and Gregors? Are you guys going there tonight?
Which one is that?
The bar?
Oh, probably.
Okay. Which one is that? It's the spot.
The bar.
It's the bar. It's the bar. It's kind of like the Ohio State. The
bar.
It's the bar.
Is it trademarked?
I don't know. I haven't asked him. that. Reminder to get buckled up. Use your seatbelts. It saves lives. It prevents injuries only if properly worn. Buckle up. A message from the Nebraska Department of Highway Safety Office. Speaking of the Ohio State University, C.J. Stroud is taking a bit of a beating by some on Twitter. They had the NFL Combine media sessions, and it's a very normal question. I love asking players, who did you like watching growing up? Who did you pattern your game after? Who's inspired you? And Stroud's like, well, dude, I loved Mike Vick. That's why I wore number 7. And I see some similarities in my game and Deshaun Watson. So he's like, I love Vick and I love Watson. And, of course, hilarity has ensued in that safe place called Twitter. Those are the two guys you're going to say you look up to and love? Right. Mike Vick shouldn't be a pet owner. Deshaun Watson should not have massage service ever again. Clear. But as far as the game goes, those are two of the more electrifying quarterbacks. Got to separate dumbass decision-making and what happens Sundays at noon.
Right. In that.
And if I'm CJ Stroud, thank you. I'm saying this to thank you for being honest with who you liked watching growing up.
Well, yeah. And, at the end of the day, I mean, he's talking about the play on the football field because, as you said, those two are electrifying football players.
Get those quotes, tweet it, and let's pile on.
It's just a good headline that gets people talking.
And I know we're talking about it, but, I mean, he's tough, man. I love how he's moved in the pocket. And he's maybe Indy bound if they trade up.
Probably.
Or do they have the second pick overall? I thought they were like Seattle has the 5th pick. I got them confused. To be honest, man, I mean, I think Stroud and Bryce clearly are the two, and I think everyone else after him, I'm sorry, I'm just not super wowed by.
Yeah, I think that's a fair take.
I mean, and who knows? I mean, Trevor Lawrence, look at how he got through last year under Herb, and then this year was big time. He gets a really good head coach to accentuate his skills. So pretty good. So are you grabbing dinner first before you guys go?
I mean, I will.
Get your
I don't think
on.
It'll be a group thing, but because everybody's just got their own plans going until.
And then you are going to meet.
Yes.
Okay. Well, stay away from your phone and off Twitter if it gets too crazy or extreme.
Somebody log me out of my account. How about that?
Well, whatever. I trust you. You're good. Do not reenact Elijah Herbal's night.
I don't know if that's possible.
Soon to be in Vegas. That's Connor Clark. Chris Schmidt. Talk to you tomorrow, 7:30, weekend edition with Hail Varsity. Take care.
I'm Rocky Moselle with StarRegistry.com. Since we were children, we've been told to reach for the stars. It was great advice. Now it's a great gift. Name a star after someone. For $54 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit StarRegistry.com, we will name a star after someone very special to you and send an incredible personalized gift. The new star name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Call the Star Registry, 800-282-3333.